Because of the obvious threat to untold numbers of citizens, and because of the crisis which is even now developing, this radio station will remain on the air day and night.
Officials and newsmen at first discounted those eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, the reports persisted.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Boogeyman Radio. I'm Dave.
I'm Charles.
Yes, he is. Now, if you're catching this on the Two Drunk Fucks YouTube channel, it is now becoming our home for Boogeyman Radio.
Yes.
The old channel that we're using as well tonight will be kind of closed down. All the old videos and episodes we're going to move over to this other channel as well. So you guys will get some back episodes if you're not caught up with this channel, or if you're new to this channel or this show. For those of you that are new to this show, we do a paranormal podcast surrounding paranormal stuff, conspiracies, and even true crime. So if you're new here, welcome, and hope you enjoy. Tonight we are coming back. You were sick last week, Charles.
Oh, dude.
You were.
It was bad. It was pretty. It wasn't COVID bad, but it was bad.
Yeah.
I'm still suffering from some of the stuff now. Like I've got some mucus in my lungs still, but hey,
Mucus.
it's fine. Yeah, mucus.
Bottle it up.
But something like that. But I am definitely feeling a lot better. I can actually talk, which is nice, right?
Yeah.
Before I just it's like it's happened in stages, right? Over a week and a half, I would say, or a week. I don't know what it's been now, but it was like this one thing, and then that one thing would go away, and then something else would happen, and then that one thing would go away, and something else would happen. It's just like, come on, give me a break, please. But oh yeah, I'm medicine and vitamins. I'm loading up on certain immune helpful vitamins and some green tea here and there. But
after this show, you're probably going to go back and look at the ingredients of your medicine and stuff.
probably, but it's fine.
I think everybody should.
Also, fun fact, if you can stand honey, for people that maybe don't like honey, but if you can stand it, it's actually really good for your throat.
It's very beneficial.
Really, really, really good. Take like a spoonful of honey, eat that sucker. Tell you what, I do one a day at least, maybe two if you're feeling really irritated. But man, it helps a lot. I agree with that.
My mom used to make, and she still makes it, like this vinegar honey concoction that's like actually pretty good. It's apple cider vinegar and honey and hot water, and it's like a hot drink that you drink, and it's actually really soothing.
I've got some also really nice. It's called Throat Coat, which is like a tea, and it's certain herbs that really help with the sensitivity of your throat. That was working a lot too. And then I follow this guy. I can't remember what his name is, but it's like the motivational doctor or something. I can't remember. But he had some sort of green leafy plant. It was either like basil, oregano, or I can't remember exactly what it was. But he just said take the oil of it. So you can buy the oil of it and boil some hot water. Put it in there. Put a towel over your head and breathe that stuff in. And it's a natural stuff to help get that crud out. So I gotta give you some of that oil. You know what I'm saying? Fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, feeling much better.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. Like I said, we've been gone for we didn't do a show last week because of that. So we've been basically gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And if you guys are watching this on the old channel, in the description there's a link to the new channel, so you can go there, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and all that good stuff. Outside of being sick, man, have you been up to anything?
Well, yeah, but so I was with my brother in the hospital for he was in there for 3, 4, 5 days, but I stayed overnight with him the first night.
Hey, Lori.
So that was fun. Great, right? That also could have made me even more sick, but you never know. But yeah, other than that, not really. I mean, I had work, had a really busy Sunday, had to be there from 7:30 to about 3:30. Just a busy day working overall, but nothing crazy. Yourself?
I picked up a new filming job. I can kind of discuss it because
Is it that secret? No
Huh?
kidding. Nothing.
I mean, parts of it are kind of secret, I guess. I mean, I can't go into detail what the product is too much,
Right.
but it was an odd set of circumstances because, like, I was taking a break from filming any haunting history or filming anything paranormal. I
Yeah.
haven't really done anything outside of a couple investigations at Garnett. I haven't done anything in the paranormal since the Paracon.
Yeah.
And so I was at work one day, and I was somehow struck up a conversation. I don't remember how we got on this conversation of video editing, and I happened to mention that's what I kind of do. Showed him a couple clips from haunting history, and he asked me if I'd, put a piece of like a video together for him. Because he had something he was taking to a conference, and he wanted this video to loop, and it's basically some tactical goggles for the military, border patrol, some
Can't
of
say
the
too much though.
stronger businesses. Yeah. He does have contracts with the Air Force, Navy, EOD,
Yeah.
EOD. They're a bunch of initials.
Lots of stuff.
Yeah, partners with some big businesses as well. They've got about $1 million tied up into this whole thing right now.
Jeez.
And but yeah, he had me edit the video. I shot him a price of $400, and I made like a 2-minute video for him. Loved it, and he's asked me to do some other projects with them, and we're gonna see how that goes next month. He said he's gonna see how things go, but like he's gonna try to get me down to the border, the U.S. Mexico border down in Arizona, and he wants me to come film some stuff for him, and then I'm cool with it, but I don't know if he's gonna be cool with it because I'm not sure he realizes what my price line is gonna be on that. Well, the travel, equipment, the time off of work, all this stuff rolled into one. It's gonna be a couple $1,000s, just kind of looking forward to do that. So
I will say, if you do go, be careful because Arizona's a hotbed for stuff happening at the border.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be surrounded by probably a bunch of conservatives, so there'll be plenty of guns.
I'll say detailed security, I'm sure.
That too. I got to edit some, or not edit, but like use a few clips from the Border Patrol that they shot with the robotic dogs and stuff. Like they're detaining some cartel, and it's pretty interesting stuff. And I kind of want this setup that he's developed. I want that for paranormal investigating. It would be awesome.
From what you were talking about, what it could be, that would be interesting. Would be very, very interesting.
Super interesting. Be the most expensive piece in the paranormal field. I guarantee you that.
Seriously.
So that's what I've been up to. This past week, I only had till Friday to finish that video, which gave me a couple days, literally.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
But I did a pretty quick turnaround with it, and he was pretty satisfied. And
that's what matters, right?
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited about that. Might be picking up this.
Dude, I'm excited for you. If this works out into something, holy cow.
Well, my aim is going to be like, okay, I'm doing all this work for you. How about you guys throw some money at me and let me produce something like a show, perhaps. Maybe I'll put you guys in as a sponsor, and we'll maybe something will come out of
this technology.
Technology, gotta love it. Yeah, let me use your technology. I'll put you guys in for as a sponsor.
No kidding. Could you imagine having an entire show? I mean, something just based off of this tech.
Yeah. Awesome. Man. And then I got approached. I'm not gonna say too much, but some friends and I had a conversation the other night. Somebody's interested in doing a show, but like it's the whole thing behind it is just really weird. So I'm still not even sure if I'm going to even do it or not.
Okay.
But like, just know if we ever go on a hiatus, that's why.
Okay.
Probably gonna be why.
Wow.
Why?
Well, those two things probably going to be why, right? Whether the military thing takes off or the Spurrier thing. Well,
I don't see the
whoever it is.
military thing really taking off to where it's like really having much impact on the show. Just because like the filming thing once a month, it seems like. But
Yeah.
we've also talked about like just doing some local stuff, filming with the equipment and whatnot.
Makes sense.
So, also did a live stream investigation at the Garnett House. Yeah, with Spurrier and Austin and.
Oh yeah, you didn't talk about that because that was the week before, right?
Yeah,
that was the week before. Dang, yeah, you didn't get to talk about that. Which I got to watch in some of that on those lives, and it was really interesting.
Man,
very, very interesting.
I caught some really good intelligent responses on the second night. I do this experiment with people, especially people that aren't used to investigating. I'll stick them in a doorway with all the lights out. You're sitting in a doorway, so you have nothing at your back. And one of the beauty parts is this house, not much has been changed throughout the years. So like the spirits will probably use the same doorways if they're familiar with the house.
Yeah.
So half the group didn't want to do it, but two girls did, and Justin did upstairs. And I had each one of them ask 3 questions. Like Justin would ask 3 questions, and it moves to the next person, then the next person. But one question from each person got answered with what seems to be an intelligent response.
No kidding?
Yeah. And I've got it on my recorder here. It's actually sitting right here. I don't know if I play
it. We should
it.
save that for After Dark.
Yeah. I don't know if it'll pick up if I play it like through the mic and stuff, but we
maybe
can try it. Try it on
later. Because I'd love to hear that.
But overall, the investigation went really good. It was fun. Nice. We raised a lot of money. I had to take my shirt off in the freezing cold up in the attic. It was so circumstantial, though. So circumstantial.
I do remember watching that. That was hilarious.
We weren't even paying attention to the phones and who was donating. And, I was just like, you know what? Justin was getting pissed because, not pissed, but like he was like, man, everybody keeps.
He kept picking him.
Everybody kept to go do the solo investigation. And he was down in the basement. Somebody paid for him to go up to the attic. So he had to do both. And we're in the kitchen. And he's like, man, what? I thought you guys would be the ones getting put in the solo stuff. And
nope.
I was like, look, if somebody wanted to donate like $100, I'd do a solo with my shirt off,
Boom.
And I just happened to look at his phone and there was $100 right there. And I'm like,
wow, it's like you told on yourself.
Like I didn't even think anybody would take that up or take me serious, but somebody threw 100 in there, and I did it. I spent about an hour up there. I think.
Yeah, and it's cold up there, man. It is freezing.
It was 27 degrees up there.
Well, there's a little breeze too that comes through. It's it's not does not feel good.
I could have cut glass. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
Anyways, but found out that she didn't even donate that money for me to take my shirt off. She just happened to be donating at the exact moment. So like it all tied together, and we're just like
timing.
Yeah, so crazy. But it was a good night. Everybody enjoyed it. In fact, the girls that were there on the second night, they told some friends, and they all got together, and they went back this past weekend. And apparently they had a really amazing time. So
maybe they just started a new paranormal group.
Those girls?
Maybe that's their curiosity now. Like, hey, did they say anything about having any interest or doing stuff before? Or was this like fresh?
Yeah, they're just interested, but like none of them had ever done it before or anything. And one of the girls, her place was having activity.
Still, what a hell of a place to start with.
Yeah, right. And the amount of activity that's been going on this past month alone out there has been pretty good. So
Dude, I'd love to get my my cousin PJ and my friend Greg up there sometime. That would be
definitely get them out there.
amazing. I need to talk to Sprayer and get that happening. Anyways, yeah, dude, that's awesome. I'm glad that it worked out great for you and it worked out great for the gals.
So before we start the show, guys, a couple quick plugs. If you want to catch the After Dark, you're wondering what the hell are they talking about? The After Dark is the show that we do on our Patreon. It is an extension of this show, just a little more grown up, if that makes sense.
You can actually show the labels on the bottles. No,
yeah. Our Patreon's right there in the corner, the patreon.com Boogeyman Radio. And then we also have our Haunting History shop. It's hauntinghistory.threadless.com. And on that shop, you can get some awesome shirts like the Poultrygeist, Haunting History, Boogeyman Radio. The Boogeyman Radio tees are a good way to advertise for us and to help support this channel. So
I've gotten so many people just thought, "What's Boogeyman Radio? What's that on your shirt?" It's like, "Oh, it's my podcast on YouTube."
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty awesome how frequently people ask me what that is. It's kind of nice.
Heck yeah, man. So get yours today. So let's get into it. I think people are ready for us to actually get into
Probably
this.
so.
Oh. All right.
Hey, if you're just now watching, skip to 1637 in time.
Has it been 16 minutes already?
It's been almost 17 minutes.
Holy Nikes.
Schmo! Whoa! Hey, whoa!
This is going way too fast.
It is.
Oh man. You know, I just realized
what?
nothing.
Okay.
Actually, the one I was going to start off with, it's not on here.
What?
I thought I saved the website. But
You didn't save the website?
No, but I can kind of gloss through it real quick because I read it.
Amateur.
Right. I don't know how we do this. So anyway, people have been adding stuff to food and to drinks even long before the FDA was even established, right? So a lot of it really started coming ahead in the late 1800s when different companies would actually alter products like butter. They would actually stick formaldehyde in butter. They also put lead in butter to help preserve it and also give it its golden color. Some dairy manufacturers, if you want to call it dairy manufacturing, a lot of them watered down the milk and then added like a paste, like a drywall type paste into the milk to thicken it up after they watered it down, so they weren't using complete milk. They also would stick formaldehyde in the milk just to give it a preservative. And if you're not familiar with formaldehyde is the same thing that they used to embalm bodies with, corpses, to keep the freshness.
Yay!
I know a lot of orphanages would use that kind of milk to give kids, all the way up into the 30s, maybe even to the 40s. They were giving kids milk with formaldehyde, and kids were dying from it. People were dying from taking or eating stuff. The bread back then, a lot of it was this like a drywall paste. It wasn't actual bread. A lot of things were going on in the late 1800s into the early 1900s, and there was, I can't remember their name. Somebody decided that they wanted to kind of study a lot of this, and they were doing these tests. It's a bizarre test. It's a bizarre study. They took, I think, about 18 people into this test, and they would feed them 3-course meals. They would sit at the table. They would have cooks prepare their meals, and then they would give them a tablet of each ingredient that was used in these products, like the formaldehyde or the boron or what have you. And they would start off with like one type, and people would get sick, and they would start off with another type, and then people would get sicker, and then they would give them another type, and people would just ultimately get severely sick And the long-term studies on a lot of that came after like 50 to 70 years, and a lot of it was like tested on rats, where rats were getting cancer, having liver issues, and blood poisoning, and all this crazy stuff. So the FDA was founded basically to kind of monitor all of that and regulate it. But things get crazy, because nowadays, or even back then when the FDA was started, the big business kind of created their own mafia type with the FDA, and or paying them off to add stuff into their products. You think about Coca-Cola had cocaine in it. You think they would let that slip now? No. Things like that, it would just get slipped through, and all these big companies would kind of squeak by. And one I want to talk about really quick, that's a good example of this. I don't know if you folks watching are familiar with PFAs. A PFA is in 1946, DuPont introduced a nonstick cookware coated with Teflon. Today, the family of fluorinated chemicals that sprang from Teflon includes hundreds of thousands of nonstick, stain repellent, and waterproof compounds called PFAs. Short for per and polyfluoro. This one's gonna suck. Fluoroalkyl substances. You can look that up, guys. PFAs are used in a staggering array of customer products and commercial applications. Decades of heavy use have resulted in contamination of water, soil, and the blood of people and animals in the furthest corners of the world. PFAs are incredibly persistent, never breaking down in the environment and remaining in our bodies forever. Forever! So, DuPont released this back in the 40s. In 1956, Stanford University studies found that the PFAs were binding to proteins in the human blood. And again, remember, this stuff does not break down, and it does not go away. It stays in your body. In 1965, DuPont rat studies showed liver damages and increased spleen size. 1978 rolls around, and 3M concluded that PFOs, PFOA, and PFAs chemicals that were used to make DuPont's Teflon should be regarded as toxic. Then let's roll into 1989. 3M studies found elevated cancer rates among people that worked with PFAs.
Damn.
Well, yeah, so the most notorious PFA chemicals, PFOA, the Teflon chemical, and PFOS, which is an ingredient in 3M's Scotch Guard, were phased out in the U.S. under pressure from the Environmental Protection Agency after revelations that their covered-up hazards. Their cover-up was where is it at? Let me find this cover-up thing. This whole thing's out of whack here. Okay. This whole article's out of whack. So the cover-up was basically in a radius of about, I think it was 18 miles around the DuPont facility. The drinking water was contaminated.
Jeez.
And it turns out DuPont knew about it.
Oh, great.
And they did not tell anybody in the communities. They did not tell anybody in the government or the EPA. They told nobody about this. And a lot of people were getting testicular, kidney, liver, and pancreatic cancer, having reproductive problems, weakened childhood immunity, low birth weights, endocrine disruption, or endocrine disruption. I'm sorry, increased cholesterol and weight gain in children and dieting adults. So, once it was discovered, like by a whistleblower, the Food and Drug Administration let the chemical industry introduce new PFA chemicals into the food to use in food wrappers and packaging with scant safety testing. The FDA found PFAs in popular foods but didn't make the findings public. After the results leaked, top agency officials said PFAs in food is not a concern. The Department of Defense has also failed to deal adequately with the crisis. The Pentagon tried to block release of federal toxics agency's recommendation of how much lower safe levels of PFA than the EPA's health advisory level. And it lobbied the White House to back woefully weak cleanup standards. So they haven't really done much in the years about those. So just keep in mind, people, when you're cooking and you're using the non-stick varnish or the non-stick pans and stuff, that stuff is toxic.
Yeah, I grew up on that stuff.
Yeah.
It's great, right? My mom and dad, that's what they had. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, we use non-stick. Non-stick is on everything.
Yeah.
Everything cookware.
I'd just rather slather it in butter and call it good.
Yeah. Should get you a good old cast iron skillet. Yeah.
Put some Pam on there. I don't know, whatever that spray is. Whatever that spray is.
I don't even trust that, man.
What? Oh, man. Well, one chemical, what's the next?
Right, yeah. We're all good.
It's fine. We're breathing it in constantly. It's all right.
Yes.
I mean, we are, if you think about it. What else are they doing with the cloud seeding and changing the weather? It's all being pumped into our atmosphere.
We're all breathing it in. We're taking it in. We're absorbing
in one way or another, whether it's drinking it, eating it, putting it on our faces, breathing it in.
I heard, and I don't know how true this is.
Okay.
So I'm going to put that on the table right now. I heard that they're saying you can't like drink rainwater. You can't like open your mouth when it's raining and catch rainwater because it's polluted so much that it could actually cause illness.
Well, I should be dead.
Went outside during the rainstorm,
not like when I'm like older years. When I was young, I used to do that quite a bit.
They're saying now, like back then, it wasn't as bad. The pollutants.
Thank God. What's 30 years difference? What does that make, right? No, 25 years.
I mean, it could make quite a bit of difference.
I know. I'm just being stupid.
But how stupid is that now? Like, you can't even like do childhood things anymore without introducing chemicals into your body.
A million ways to die.
Right? Yeah.
Great movie, but yeah. Horrible. But I mean, okay, so it's not depressing, but it's just like that's heavy, right?
Speaking of chemicals,
so it's pretty easy. I didn't really have a hard time, but I went to Google on my phone and it had I was looking for basically just different FDA chemicals that were approved that are actually banned in other countries.
Yeah.
For specific reasons, obviously. Yeah, exactly. But it's pretty alarming how when you look at it, like ingredients of even tomato soup, right? Just down home tomato soup, and then you look at tomato soup in Britain or the UK, and it's just like water, tomatoes, something, 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 something. That's it. Ours is like 15 different things in this one can. It's just like, oh Lord, what are we getting ourselves into? But it was actually a conversation I was having with my dad the other day, and I almost wanted to call him a conspiracy theorist because
Whoa,
he
buddy.
doesn't normally talk. I know, right?
Whoa,
He doesn't
Carl.
normally talk about like out there kind of stuff, and he's just like, "Yeah, who knows what they're putting into us with these food nowadays?" And I'm like, "Well," I was like, "That's a very hot topic in the conspiracy theory world, if you'd say."
Yeah.
And it's like he just admitted it. I was just like, "Huh." All right, well, at least it's not really a conspiracy. Everybody knows that there's crappy stuff in our food.
What I find funny about it is like that's just so many people that are out there that think
Yeah.
about this stuff, but they don't say it. They just don't say it.
They're so compliant. Like, well, nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
Like, we should get talking. We should have conversations about these things. Like,
Yes.
That's where it starts. Damn it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so our RBST is the first one that I came across, and obviously these names are just. I'm gonna butcher it. That's fine. Somatotropin, or tropin, one of the two, is a growth hormone. Right, is a growth hormone found in humans and other animals that stimulates growth and development. In cattle, you're right. It's in cattle. It's aptly known as bovine somatotropin, or BST. If you inject cows with additional BST, produced synthetically called recombinant bovine somatotropin, RBST, or
RBST.
that thing, just add bovine growth hormone, right? Exactly. So they'll produce more milk if you combine them together. But it often comes as a cost. Studies have shown that cows subjected to RBST, so rather say that, have a greater risk of lameness, infertility issues, and udder infections.
Udder.
I thought they were going to go with a joke right there. Utterly, like I was thinking it was going to happen, and I was a little disappointed it didn't. It's okay. It's not clear, right? Exactly. It's not clear what the risks may be for humans who drink milk or eat meat from RBST injected cattle, and the FDA has deemed those products are safe to consume. But its effects on the cows themselves were a good enough reason for Canada and European Union to outlaw them in 1999. It's also not allowed in any American products certified by the USDA organic. So good for them.
So look for the organic logo, not just the USDA, but USDA organic.
Oh, here's a good one.
Uh-oh. Mountain Dew.
No, close, but no. Olestra. There we go. Olestra. I have to say it 3 times to get it right.
Sounds like a pill.
Procter & Gamble's fat substitute Olestra was common on shelves in the form of fat-free Pringles and Frito-Lay products during the late 1990s. Its infamous habit of causing anal leakage and interfering with the body's vitamin absorption made it fall out of fashion after several years. But the FDA still allows it in snack foods, though manufacturers must add certain vitamins to Olestra to keep Olestra containing products to offset the absorption issues. Canada and the UK, on the other hand, kept things simple by never okaying Olestra in the first place.
I wonder if there's
anal
any
leakage
in Canada and the UK. I bet that's the Taco Bell thing.
It's a freaking well, maybe because Taco Bell does. Well, do they have Doritos? Yeah, the Doritos Locos Tacos.
Maybe they're putting it in the meat too, or the meat.
I mean, can we appreciate like how old this label looks? Holy cow, that looks old. That's 90s right there, folks.
Yeah.
So, all right, next one is ractopamine. Whoa, what just happened? Hold on.
Whoa.
There we go. Ractopamine. To plump up livestock with much lean meat as possible before the slaughter, farmers often add ractopamine. There we go. I got it.
There you go. Look at you.
There we go. To their feed. Yeah, I finally learned. Anyways, it's from a class of drugs known as beta agonists. Wow, that's just beta agonists.
Okay.
Also used to relax muscles and open airways for asthma sufferers. Much like RBST, there's still a lot of ambiguity surrounding the ractopamine safety for human consumption. The FDA and other experts maintain that it's fine,
It's
but some research has suggested that it may cause increased heart rates in humans. It's also linked to increased rates of lameness and other issues in animals themselves, especially pigs. In general, more research. Yeah, right. I know.
They do give us good bacon.
That is their best form. Anyways, in general, more research is needed, but the uncertainty has led the European Union to ban it altogether, and dozens other countries, including China, Russia, Turkey, Egypt, and India, have all done the same. The U.S. hasn't followed suit, though certain American manufacturers have sworn off using its products on their own livestock to export it to China.
There it is.
They're double dipping.
Real quick,
Right.
Before you get too much further into that one, because you got a lot of them there, and I've got several of them too.
Do it.
I want to dip into this water one.
Do it. Oh yeah, I want to hear this one.
Because this is some interesting stuff that that's been out there and has come about. And I think it's something that people just don't want to realize. And I kind of touched upon it with the rain, the pollutants in the rain. But this is kind of unnerving. What I found out, the data is pretty unnerving. So according to 2005 data from the U.S. Geological Survey, the average person uses between 98 and 100 gallons of water a day, per day. But you think that's a lot, but you got to consider like showers and stuff like that, toilets, flushing, and all that. But treatment facilities, they work nonstop, filtering water trying to prevent disease. These systems have been at the center of a lot of allegations, such as fluoride poisoning to charges of corruption.
Oof.
Having clean water is a good thing, right? But
yes.
How clean is it really? That tap water, that shower water, when you're in the shower, you open your mouth, take a little bit of water in, spit it out.
Bro, I try to never do that, ever. Yeah.
How clean is that water, So the advocacy group called the Environmental Working Group claims that the water isn't as clean as you might think. In a survey of drinking water in 42 states, they found 119 chemicals that the EPA has established limits for and 141 unregulated contaminants.
People wonder why I drink drinking or bottled water.
So you're looking at what, 200 and my math is bad, 260 chemicals in your water.
Yeah.
That's insane.
What's the best water you can drink from the bottle? Like not brand wise, just what's the type of water?
Alkaline.
What do you think it is? Alkaline? Okay. All right.
Yep.
I prefer spring.
Well, I mean, you can get spring water with alkaline. Anything with alkaline is going to be good for you. Your body needs alkaline. People don't realize that.
Yes.
So the majority of the unregulated contaminants and chemicals approved by the EPA are disinfection byproducts, such as chloroform, nitrates, borium, arsenic, and copper. This is in a lot of people's water. But in all fairness, like the EPA's, they're tasked to like control all that. You got to think about this. They have to like monitor a nationwide like water supply, like these treatment facilities in different towns. They got to like keep a tab on all that. And that's got to be difficult. They can't be 100% all the time. I mean, it's like saying everybody's going to be happy and peace and loving and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What's up, Dale? Yeah, don't trust bottled water either, because that plastic breaks down and gets into the water. So in 2009, moving up ahead.
Yeah.
Oops, I didn't mean to do that. In 2009, the New York Times compiled data claiming that violations of the Safe Drinking Water Act had occurred in parts of every state in the country. Parts of every state had violations of this act. In New York State alone, 205 systems violated the act by exceeding the acceptable bacteria limits. Only 3 of those were penalized. And the reason for that is why they don't find these treatment plants is because that burden would end up going on the taxpayer. These are low funded companies that treat your water. So if they place heavy fines on them, then where does that money come from?
Right. Yeah.
So ultimately, we'd be paying the fines, and there'd be no true penalty being levied on these facilities. So that's the reason why they didn't really penalize them, which is stupid. There could have been other things they could have done. Whipping people, I think, is a good idea.
Well,
drop.
yes.
Although it's difficult to know how long-term effects, difficult to know the long-term effects, we do know that the cover-ups behind these, they exist. In 2012, when government watchdogs claimed the U.S. Navy was suppressing evidence of a long-term water contamination at the Marine Corps Camp Lejeune. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos, the commercials about that. Like, if you were stationed at Camp Lejeune between...
Yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah. Allegations became public, and it led to this Janie Ensminger Act, giving care to people that lived at the camp between 1953 and 1987. And that was basically like the Navy knew that the water was being contaminated, and they still allowed it to go out, right?
Yeah.
A more modern one would be in 2011, Flint, Michigan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Flint was in crisis. At that time they had massive job losses, and the state took control of the city budgeting because they were just kind of doing a really bad job with it. And in 2014, they ended up switching the water supply from Lake Huron to the Flint River, which I don't know why you would do that. They said that the switch would save money, or it saves some money in the short term.
Yeah.
However, the water needed to be treated to be drinkable. In May of the same year, residents began complaining that the water tasted wrong, smelled bad, and looked bad. And in some cases, it was just brown. Yet, state officials maintained that it was safe. They even staged a press conference where, like, the city officials and some of the Michigan government officials were drinking some of the water on stage. Like, look, it's safe. We're drinking it. They did that crap. They staged it. So according to whistleblowers, Michigan's Department of Environmental Quality and city officials both broke the law by rigging testing processes and skipping mandatory follow-up tests. The water from the Flint River was corrosive. It was actually 19 times corrosive than the water that's in Detroit. Flint's infrastructure contained lead pipes. They were vulnerable to the corrosion, and since the water had not been treated with an anti-corrosion agent, the lead contaminated the water. In a test where a researcher stated that the regulatory limit is 15 parts per billion, ppb.
Mm-hmm.
The highest he had ever seen was 37 parts per billion.
Jesus.
Was the highest he'd ever seen. A sample from a faucet contained 104 parts per billion. That was nearly 7 times the federal limit. So the officials are still, or they went under investigation for the cover-up of the water, and I guess the investigation's still ongoing. So
that's a long investigation.
Yeah, you think they're actually going to do anything about it?
Probably not.
No, they don't care. Why would they?
If they do anything, if they did something about it, or if they actually cared, something would have been done by now.
Yeah. Why redo the pipelines? And let's funnel it back out of the Lake Huron.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a replenishing lake. That's a big ass.
Just kind of
lake.
makes sense, like.
I don't know. That's Michigan for you.
Tis Michigan. It's so sad. But how about I'm going to talk about something here real quick that I think some people will remember this one as well, and we still have risks of it today. We've got asbestos.
Yes.
Right? Remember back in the day when asbestos was literally almost in everything?
Yeah. Yep.
And it was FDA approved. Well, I shouldn't say it was FDA approved. Was it FDA approved?
No,
No,
it's not
okay,
FDA.
Just kidding. But there are still some things that have asbestos in them that are smaller trace amounts. But
it was probably at some point approved by the EPA.
Yeah. Oh, wait. When was the FDA founded?
The 1930s or 40s.
Oh, then yeah, it was definitely known about because asbestos is rain.
The FDA would, like, as far as I know, asbestos is for building materials and insulation and stuff like that.
Oh man, yes. Stoves, slow cookers, popcorn poppers, dryers, curling irons. I guess it wouldn't be really food, but yeah. Pot holders, electric blankets, ovens, coffee pots. That should be an FDA thing, right? Or toasters, because it's dealing
actually
with food.
It's not a food item though.
It's not right, exactly, which is how they get around it.
Yeah, it's all in the wording.
The fact that this stuff was still allowed just blows my friggin' mind.
I know, like, whenever they do renovations on older structures, they have to have like wearing hazardous material suits and stuff like that to remove asbestos. You have to have specialized people to come in and do that.
Yep.
Because of it, the contamination is pretty rough. Breathe that stuff in, asbestos dust. Oof.
Not good for you.
No.
All right, I got another one here for you. What's up?
That's why it's very important to know, if you ever do any investigations, know if there's asbestos at the locations. Because we go to a lot of old locations when we're ghost hunting and stuff like that. So always check, guys.
That first time that I went and investigated at Garnett, I caught something, I'm pretty sure, from FNA Cotton. Crescent Hotel.
Oh.
So I felt horrible inside the Crescent. I felt horrible inside the Garnett. And I was like, there's no way. There's no freaking way it was from Garnett because I was sick beforehand. But thankfully, I've gone back there since, and I've never had any issues.
Usually illnesses take a few days before they really kick in.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Trace it back a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm pretty sure that I got something either from that antique shops we went into, or it was the Crescent itself.
Could be, yeah. It could have been from a person too.
That too. I just remember having horrible sinus pain. There's up and down here.
I remember that, man. Yeah.
I remember sitting on the couch and just my head was just pounding my sinuses. Yeah. Oh, it was the worst sinus attack I've ever had in my life. Anyways, so next one I want to talk about is potassium bromate.
Yes.
I know, bromate, right?
Oh.
Potassium, yeah, right? Potassium bromate helps flour rise and brightens the color of bread. But it's also known to cause cancer in rats. Huh. Called PDF, right? Great song. The possibility that it might cause cancer in humans too is enough to have landed it on the do not use list in China, Brazil, India, Canada, the UK, and European Union. In the US, where the mindset is less better safe than sorry and more of a innocent until proven guilty, it's permitted in bread products and malted barley. You're drinking that shit in.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's a long one.
Oh.
Azodicarbonamide.
Oh, yes. I read about this one.
Or ADA, which we'll just call it that, creates the gas bubbles that help make plastic products like yoga mats and shoe springy lightweights. It has a similar effect on bread products by making dough fluffier and more durable, and like potassium bromate, can also function as a whitening agent. ADA breaks down when it's baked and one of the resulting chemicals is semicarbazide, has been correlated with increased cancer rates in some rodents. The FDA claims that it poses no threats to humans when consumed at certain legal levels, and scores of recognizable brands, have been known to use it in their products, but public pressure has led some companies like Subway and Wonder Bread to remove the additive from their food in recent years. In the European Union, however, the ingredient has been banned outright for over a decade.
And it hasn't just been Subway either. And you guys might remember that it was kind of a big deal.
I do remember that
when that information came out, and Subway had to remove that. But not only did they have it in their products, McDonald's also had it in their bread.
Oh yeah, it was a quite common thing in a lot of
the fast food
products. Yeah,
but McDonald's wasn't very vocal about having it, so they just like silently removed it when they found out Subway got in trouble. They're like, "Oh,
yep,
they're down. Yep. Let's go, man down." So like that was a kind of a big deal when that came out.
Yeah,
and
I remember that,
and it makes you think back, like all the times you went to Subway and it was kind of chewy bread. Like,
gee, I wonder why.
Like hard to.
Subway pissed me off. They took away their Italian urban cheese sandwiches, and I'm not okay with that.
Well, maybe there's something in the urban cheese.
Or they just weren't selling enough. But it was the most flavor. Anyways. So another one that I've got, which is very familiar to a lot of people, a lot of moms do research on this, at least I've found that, red dye 40 and other synthetic dyes. Because a lot of people can actually be, what is it called? Allergic to this stuff. Not just from, exactly, red dye number 3. Like all sorts of red dyes are horrible for you.
Just in case you guys eat some of this stuff, there's something you need to know.
Well, I usually eat the Doles.
The cherries and
the peaches. The peaches is what I do.
Yeah.
Oh, the cherries do? Oh, okay, then it's probably not in the peaches. Then I'm fine.
Well, it's
probably
in
something else that has it.
Stuff too, but
yeah,
bacon bits thing. I'm like,
yeah, it's sad.
I don't eat those ones though. I get the real ones.
It's not real bacon bits. It's just red dyed bacon bits.
Little bits of plastics, probably what it is.
Strawberry milk's not actually strawberry milk. It's just red dye and chemicals.
And I don't eat hot tamales, so I'm good there.
I'm allergic to that, so I can't have that. So
cool.
Cinnamon. All right. So, in 2007, researchers from the UK's University of Southampton published a study suggesting that consumption of a mixture of certain synthetic food dyes, including red dye number 4 and yellow dye number 5, and the preservative sodium benzoate, could increase hyperactivity and inattention in children. Gee, makes a lot of sense. Though the study didn't prompt an outright ban, the UK's Food Standard Agency advised manufacturers to stop using those synthetic dyes, and you generally won't find them in British foodstuff these days. Within a few years, the European Union mandated that products containing the dyes carry a warning that consumption may have an adverse effect on the activity and attention in children. In the US, manufacturers just have to mention artificial dyes in their list of ingredients. So you're telling me that I could have been given ADHD because of red dye or because of dyes in food.
Yeah.
Wow. Because I was growing up with that stuff. That means I could have, which makes a lot of sense for the stuff that I was on in my childhood.
Yeah. And
man,
like you said, all they have to do is just label it on there. They don't have to tell you like what happens if you take too much of it. It's like I said, yellow number 5. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this.
Because I was a hyperactive, inattention kid. I couldn't focus worth a darn. No, I can't really see it.
Yeah. Yellow number 5 is in Mountain Dew, high fructose corn syrup. That in itself is bad as well. That's in all the drinks, the soft drinks and stuff like that.
That's horrible.
You know?
That's just ridiculous.
But the caffeine is what keeps drawing you back to it. So it's like a chain of events or a chain linked, we're slowly killing ourselves because of our addictions.
Yep. Okay, let's see here. Finding a few more. All right, so here's a couple more that are banned in Europe that are allowed in the U.S. So titanium dioxide. This additive is used for coloring and is found in Skittles, Starburst, baked goods, soups, broths, sauces, sandwich spreads. Okay? Titanium dioxide is something that can build up over time. It doesn't get excreted very well. So the additive has been shown to be genotoxic in studies, which is why it's banned in Europe, she explains. Oh, yeah, sorry. It's just whatever. It's someone's quote. Genotoxicity refers to the ability of a chemical substance to damage DNA, which
Dang.
is the genetic material in all cells that lead to carcinogenic or cancerous effects. Holy bejeez. So avoid titanium dioxide because it literally has the possibility of changing your DNA.
Probably makes you more susceptible for cancer growth and things like that.
Yup.
That's what the alkaline's for, boys. Drink that alkaline, help fight cancer.
All right, talked about that one. Talked about that one. Come on now, catch up to me.
While you're looking for one, I'll put one out there. It's pretty common. Caramel coloring level 4.
Oh yeah.
It's been deemed generally recognized as safe, or GRAS, by the FDA. It's most widely known and used food coloring in the world. Although it sounds harmless, level 4 caramel color contains the cancer-causing byproduct, 4-mel is for short. In 2007, research was published that showed 4-mel was carcinogenic, like you just said about the other dyes. Reports tested the levels of 4 in drinks and found it in excessive levels in several soft drinks that contain caramel color. Coke, Pepsi, all that brown, blackish color.
I gotta love it. Yeah, right.
They petitioned the FDA to limit and label its use. However, the FDA has not taken this action. The FDA simply released a statement that they would review its safety and determine what, if any, regulatory action needs to be taken. Following their presentation at the American Chemical Society annual meeting in 2014, the FDA said that they have no reason to believe that the current caramel coloring levels are a concern. So it looks like the FDA has no plans to limit, label, or ban it.
Why would they?
Yeah, they're making money on it. Again, this goes back to like that whole buyout. These big companies can pay off, and the FDA is not even a federal thing.
No.
It was a privatized company. So it's like the our currency maker who makes our money.
Federal Reserve.
Yeah, the Federal Reserve. It's not even a government thing. It's
about as government and federal as I don't know, some
you and I.
Yeah, I was gonna say some person over in a different country. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah,
it's its own entity, and we are in debt to it.
So like all this stuff is like just being banned across seas and abroad, but here in the States, it's like
nope,
they don't care. It's all about the money.
Hey, what's your health matter? Nobody cares.
Well, and if
we are the product.
Follow the comments here, guys. As Silent Outlaw stated throughout his rant, it does circle back to we ingest all this stuff. We get sick from this stuff. We go to the doctors where they give us this stuff to make it better. And then we just kind of keep the cycle going, and it's just funneling money. It just funnels money back in. So.
It really does. It's just an endless circle. That's why you have politicians that are lobbied by private companies and private businesses to make sure that certain things stay legal and regulations. Mm-hmm. So it's all an endless cesspool of nobody cares about you.
I'll back your campaign. I believe in your, running standards. So here's $1 billion. Oh, and by the way, while you're at it, can you see about maybe knocking off this whole let's have a law against this food dye, because that's kind of our bread and butter here, guys.
Yeah, that's what gets us. That's what allowed this money to be given to you.
Yeah.
Horrible, just horrible. Anyways,
here's the worst part about all of this is a bottle of water at a fast food place costs more than a soda. Think about that. Salads.
It's pretty fucked.
Salads cost as much as fucking steak. You know, it's ridiculous. Like, there's a reason for that. And
I thought about like go. Sorry, were you done? What were you else were you gonna say?
no, you can jump in there. It's fine.
I thought about going down to my friend. There's a creek down on my friend's property, getting a bucket and just like boiling the hell out of that water.
Mm-hmm.
Boil the heck out of it, and then what is it? No, it's oh man, what am I thinking of here? There's like some droplets that these people put into big barrels of water, and it's supposed to like clean it or something.
Yeah, they're the droplets that you take like if you're going hiking long distance or for a long time or camping for a long time. You can just drop it in the water and it kills the bacteria.
Right. There's also this. Is it called magic straw? What the hell is it called? I can't remember what it is, but you literally put it into the creek, and it has like this filter that just like they take a nasty bucket of water and literally drink from that freaking bucket, like brown leaves, like mud, like just nasty. And they literally like it comes out and it's clear. It's insane how crazy it works, but it's a thing that's made, and if you buy so much money goes over to starving children in Africa or people that can't get good drinking water. Like it's yeah, so it's a good thing. It's a great product, but I would definitely trust that. Like literally watching it myself go from this brown nasty liquid to this clear, crystal clear water.
Right.
It's just pretty cool how like such a small device can do that, yet we have to pump so much fake crap into our foods and drinks.
Yep. Guys, we're going to continue this conversation over on our After Dark, and as well, is phosphorus running out? And what does that mean for our food supply?
Phosphorus and antibiotics, apparently.
I'm going to talk a little bit about that on the After Dark because it's a pretty interesting thing to know. There's a lot of people out there that have this idea that the food supply is going to run out, and because of phosphorus being used in so much of what we do and eat, that's a very important mineral. So
looks like we're going to have to go hunting again.
I'll talk about that in detail on the After Dark. Guys, we appreciate you for hanging out, checking out the show. Again, if you want to join us on the After Dark, patreon.com/Boogeyman Radio. And, next week we will be 100% on the new channel. So if you haven't yet, click the link in the description to go over to that channel, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you guys next week. Same time, same place. And we will be dropping some of the old episodes on this new channel throughout the weeks. So there'll be something in the middle, kind of break up the time. I think that'd be fun.
I do too.
Anything you want to add before we jump?
No, that was solid. Bye, everybody.
All right. Have a good week if you're done watching us.
They've left by now. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.